1, 2, 3.
Hey, welcome to the big show, everybody. It's the Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, and it's a real fiesta today because we've got John Rocha with us. You know, we get to say to ourselves, we wake up on a day like this, like, you know what? I'd like to talk about Harrison Ford with John Rocha, and then I get to do that.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen. Excited to jump into this with you all for sure. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for those who've watched the show before, you know that we're slowly piecemealing finished shows of the Ford Fiesta together here on this live Zoom StreamYard broadcast thing. So yeah, we're nonchalantly talking to you now, but we'll kick into the second half of this show with good conversation about this particular movie. So let's see. David McKay. Hello. Well, there you go.
Are we live?
Insight.
Live?
It is.
Oh, okay.
Are we unaware of this?
Paul, I'm gonna need you to, man, we're talking Harrison Ford, we're talking the RA. We need you to come on now. Wake the fuck up, son. Come on, let's go.
What are you talking about?
We got the Irish versus the British. We got Richard Harris.
You're right.
We got
Exactly.
Harrison Ford. We got the hot ass Polly Walker. Sean Bean looking like a baby. Patrick Bergen, fresh off the Sleeping with the Enemy stuff. Come on, let's go.
Oh, listen, fresh off Sleeping with the Enemy.
Is that right? I think that.
I think he was, but I mean, I don't know if he would be particularly proud of that. Fresh off Mountains of the Moon.
Paul, this is your reminder to start recording audio. We can, because I think we're about to start discussing some stuff here.
Oh yeah, see, there's a lot of tech nonsense going on here too, John.
Gotcha.
Is there any chance you could record the audio on your end?
Not that I know of, unless I don't know what I could do.
Well, you got a good enough microphone. We could just use the feed from the stream here.
Yeah, if you want, you can do that for sure.
We record on QuickTime as backup as well in case the internet gets.
And in case you have,
I can do
internet
that. I
blitz or
think I have
whatever.
QuickTime. Let me just throw that up.
Oh yeah, if you can open up a QuickTime.
Yeah, new audio recording.
By the way, audience, this is what we should have been discussing. Instead, we were talking about Harrison Ford before we started the show because we are much bigger fans of Harrison Ford than we are producers of content, I think. At least on this end, not Rocha. Rocha's a pro.
Please, you guys have been doing this longer than I have. Please. Here we go. Mixed cast recording. All right, done and done. Let's go.
Cool.
All right.
Major move.
All right, so
done.
this is so we're, like I may have told you, we're coming out of the recap of Patriot Games to then break down everything about it, and I'll guide us through that conversation. Tangents welcome. All right.
The script will be recorded at another time, but we're going to get into the plot and everything here. So, but let's pretend we just came out of a really, really funny script that Adam's writing right now.
All right, then it should come out with a big applause. All right, that's, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that was hilarious.
That's Patriot Games, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell. And joining us here to talk about it is an old friend of ours. He's been on the Movie Guys a number of times, including a great episode with Mick Foley many moons ago. That was real fun.
Right.
Then we followed him through the Schmodown, and he's stayed in our circle, which is really cool. And now, of course, the Outlaw Nation has taken off into a huge YouTube juggernaut. John Rocha is with us.
Hey.
Hey, thank you guys so much. I mean, from your lips to God's ears, yes, let's hopefully down the road, but very happy with how it's been going over the last few years, striking out on my own. And
yeah,
of course,
that's a
Paul,
big
you're
move.
one of those guys that, like, when I was on your show, it just was like, how can people do this? It's incredible. And of course, through crazy things, I ended up doing it down the road. So you guys are one of the first guys that I saw that it was something that could be possible. So please, your inspiration in that way, both of you. So yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
That's thanks so much. I'm like, we got to put on a tie. Rocha's here. He's a real streamer. He's got a real show. We got this ragtag thing.
You guys have been on my shows. It's always been fun to quid pro quo this thing. So I'm excited to talk today and hang out with you guys.
Well, let's talk then let's go back to 1992. Patriot Games comes out. It
Yeah.
comes out June 5th. So Harrison Ford, after Presumed Innocent and Regarding Henry, is back in summer blockbuster mode. This is a solid summer movie entry for that summer. Um, Filming started in November 1991. It's a pretty quick turnaround for a big blockbuster. They made
They
it
didn't
in
used to put things
6
into
months.
computers, and they just were done. That's how Eastwood
Yeah.
does it. You're like, did he just finish shooting that a week ago? It's like, yeah, he doesn't put it in a computer. They're done.
Yeah.
He shoots 2 takes. What do they have to go through tonight?
Well, we're coming off The Hunt for Red October, of course, being a hit, so people wanted more of this. The budget was $40 million. That was raised by Brandon Tartikoff from $28 million, and eventually
Tartikoff?
but eventually it ended up costing $65 million due to reshoots and other things. But doesn't matter. It's Harrison Ford, so it earns $83.3 million domestically, $178 million worldwide. So that's almost 3 times its budget by the time it's done. Because
It's as if the public would rather see him punch people than forget the alphabet.
That's true. Good point. So we always talk about the first time we saw this movie. I think all 3 of us watched it to get in the zone for today's conversation. But when was the first time you saw this movie, John?
Oh, probably in Virginia, probably, I'm sure, on some break, because this is right when I'm in the military, but I'm also, going to college. So yeah, it would have to have been on a break, I think, if I remember correctly. And it's funny because I'm going to talk about this later, but a friend of mine, they shot it at outside of his house, some of the scenes that are there in Annapolis. Yeah, so we were friends. We'd gotten to know each other managing bookstores at the time, and so I remember going to seeing it a second time with him. It was really cool to have him experience the film as well. But yeah, I remember seeing it in Virginia and being like, "Oh wow, this is interesting," because I had liked Hunt for Red October, and then they made the casting change, and I was like, "All right, let's see if this works." And it seemed to work. This was more of the Jack Ryan that I remember reading in those books. And growing up in DC, Tom Clancy was a big deal. So
I was going to ask.
was like mandatory reading, almost like Shakespeare.
Yeah. So you had a whole opinion, like Paul and I. They're finally getting rid of Alec Baldwin and putting in Harrison Ford. It's like, what even is the Hunt for Red October then? Who cares? This is the way. Absolutely perfect. CG him into the other movie too while you're at it. But you were a Clancy fan first, right?
Oh yeah, I used to have it the books on tape. And so I would ride around with the cassettes, like kids. There were things called cassettes, and I would put the cassette in and listen to. I think it was F. Murray Abraham who used to do some of these, and so his books. I mean, that is incredible to watch an actor or listen to an actor of his talent do the voices of the characters while also narrating the thing. It was incredible to listen to. I think he did Patriot Games as well. Yeah.
For me, it was in the theater summer. I was graduating college, so I think I was kicking around my college town. I think everything that came out in '92 I saw a couple of times, and but I wasn't working in a movie theater. Like we talked about Last Crusade recently. I was working at a movie theater when that came out, so that movie I saw ad nauseum. This one not as much. So when I saw it recently, it was still kind of fresh. I was like, oh yeah, that this happened and that happened. I didn't quite have it poured over 100%. Could read you every line. I had never read the books. I may not read books anymore because
I don't think I do.
The book's always better, and I can't have movies be bad. So enough books, just movies. Thanks. Also, if you read a book in 2 hours, it's not going to be as good. So it's never going to be the way to get everything in a movie. But I think, as far as I know, what do you think, John? Is the adaptation pretty good here? There's lots of controversy, of course, about the ending and others.
Yeah, and him being a lot more right wing than Jack Ryan on screen is. So but overall, I think it's a good adaptation, even though Clancy may have had an issue with it because it was made for what the public wanted to see, and I think the box office validates that more than anything else. But yeah, Clancy, these books are dense, man. I mean, if you're into this kind of stuff, Clancy is your language because he goes real deep. I mean, if you ever read Hunt for Red October, the way the amount of depth he talks about with each of the submarines it's like reading the first things of the Bible. He begat, they begat, and they begat, and you're like, I can't keep up anymore. So.
And the silent engine became this, and
exactly.
Stealth in the war, in the Cold War.
It'd be impossible
before
to do
time.
that. As a series, I could see that this happening actually, but not, which of course they did with John Krasinski. But yeah, adapting these would be monumental task for sure.
Well, the other thing is you've got an auteur here in a way.
Yeah.
Philip Noyce. And by the way, every time I say that, I got to play. Yeah. Okay.
Always.
But, and what I did not catch the first time I saw this movie, just paying attention to basic action and Harrison Ford and all that sort of stuff. This time I'm like, oh, this is very handily directed. There are some really interesting choices, and he's not going to do your typical action movie to begin with,
Yeah, and I was surprised to learn in watching the DVD extras that Harrison Ford was sort of told this, we're interested in Philip Noyce directing. Have you seen Dead Calm? And he's like, no. But it was his previous movie, right? What was it called?
Newsfront?
Newsfront.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That he had seen. And I'm like, I've never even heard of that movie.
Wow.
And so Ford was pretty versed in
Yeah.
Noyce.
Noise. Yeah, I love that they told him about Dead Calm, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what that is or whatever. And then they're like, well, he also did Newsfront. And he's like, what? Wait, you've got the guy who did Newsfront here? Like he was really excited about that.
That's par for the course with Ford, though. Even with the Shrinking, it's like, you've seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall? No, what is that? I haven't seen it. He hasn't seen any of this stuff.
Right.
He didn't care. It's weird. But here's the story about Clancy's thing. He didn't like the changes.
Yeah.
Didn't like Ford's portrayal of
What
Ryan.
are the changes, by the way?
Blasphemy.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't entirely.
Tom
know
Clancy,
the changes.
fuck that guy, right?
It was supposed to be Prince Charles.
That's
and
true.
they couldn't use Prince Charles.
Okay.
And that he got deeper into the issues between the Northern Ireland, the all that. And
I bet
there was much more of that in the book. But also, as I said earlier, he's more right wing. Jack Ryan is in the book than Jack Ryan is in the movies. So Clancy had issues with that as well. And I think he came out and said, like, of the 200 scenes in this film, one of them is accurate to my book. But, it's crotchety old man shit.
Oh, wow. The right wing thing completely changes what became my favorite moment in this, aside from the big moments, of Harrison Ford moments. And I have some clips here. We'll play some great Harrison Ford moments in this movie. But I think I should play this now because this stuck out to me so much, which is that the authorization to kill is taken with great or should I wait till we get to that as we go through the story a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
But watch this. Watch what Philip Noyce does here. In this entire movie, I compared this a lot to Scott Turow because Scott Turow's book is not ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Scott Turow wrote his book to go, oh my God, courtrooms have literally never been presented correctly. You can just feel it. So it's this like really underplayed version of that where everything's a technical issue because that's what actually happens in courtrooms. What this movie did, which I now assume Tom Clancy did not do, is to say intelligence gathering is not bang, 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 shoot him up, shoot him up, shoot him up. It's a lot of being in a room. It's a lot of looking at photos, and it's a lot of watching people get killed on satellites. But so watch how he takes in the authorization, because as soon as Jack says, kill those people, they're going to go kill those people. And that's even said earlier in the thing. It's like, all you got to do is say yes, that camp's gone. And so like the gravity with that. And when it finally comes down to it, this is how he authorizes it. This is not the right-wing version of it.
Jack, tell me one thing in life that is absolutely for certain.
My daughter's love.
What I need to hear from you is your best guess, and I think I've heard it. Haven't I?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the director. That is a choice between an actor who is not a raging conservative, I think you could say, and a director, who's trying to get the most out of that moment without delivering it plain Jane like everything else,
Right. Well, you don't want him to be callous about a human life. So you make it so that he's, dropping the daughter a line. I mean, what are you going to say? If I was in a room and someone said that, I'm like, are you, what? Come on, man. Like, we're trying to talk about real stuff here. Don't be playing that card.
Right. My daughter's love.
But having his back turned, it's a brilliant decision. Because, I mean, they tell you all the time in movies and in theater, never turn your back to the audience. But having him just do the slight nod after the pause, it really makes you feel that. Yeah, it's just slight.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool.
We've said that Harrison Ford has which is, by the way, this is the beginning of Harrison Ford phase 4, right? So this is a new phase in his career. Phase 3 was eliminating our memories of Indiana Jones and Han Solo by playing everything else in the universe. And I can't remember what movie about it, but it's like, I noted that he is doing more reacting in that middle phase than and so here, in Patriot Games, which is basically the best of Harrison Ford, you're getting it all. He's able to just take a moment and just silently nod and get as much gravity as when he, punches a guy in the street.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We mentioned this is the greatest hits of Harrison Ford, and it really is. And we needed that after Regarding Henry, right? We wanted to come back to the big time Harrison Ford summer movie. And what do we got? We got he's working with a Fox, right? This James Fox, and this one he worked with Edward Fox. And
Edward Fox, right.
Back with James Earl Jones. We love when he works with James Earl Jones.
Reteam, fourth movie with James Earl Jones.
And first time
people don't know that.
And first time they've been in the same room.
Yeah, true.
He's teaching, right? At the top, he's teaching the recruits, like he does in Raiders of the Lost Ark.
And that TV movie where he catches on fire because a witch in the...
They're zooming in on shots of the camp, and it's very enhance.
Enhance.
Runner,
he even says enhance.
Yeah. He's got a boat fight like he does in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He's got a wife and daughter like Regarding Henry. He's got the domestic kitchen life like in Working Girl. This is the greatest hits of Harrison Ford.
Right. And all right, since you brought it up, Paul, greatest hits of Harrison Ford. I have said more than once on this and caught myself to say this is the greatest point with righteous anger that Harrison Ford will ever do. I must have said that 3 times if I've said it once on this show. And here comes Patriot Games. Let's go into Harrison Ford's points here. He's got 2 of the greatest points he's ever done in this movie. And just when you think his points with righteous anger and shouts can't get any better. Here we go with Richard Harris in the bar. This is the one. No, let me start this off with, I love the silent point at the hospital. Let me start with that because it's the first time he just points with the, oh, did I not pull that one? All right, let's go to the real one. Let's go to the big one.
I don't give a shit whether you did it or not, and neither will anyone else. But I will put such a stranglehold on your gun money, you'll be out in the street throwing rocks. I will fucking destroy you. I will make it my mission in life.
Excuse me.
That's just the best point, and with the most righteous anger.
Yeah, I mean, if that's point meets anger, and it's at the apex of both. That's really good. Yeah, and we've been counting a lot of them here. Get Down was another good one at the top. Get Down, it's sort of a point.
Get Down. You want to see that?
It's the run one. Yeah, it's the run.
Yeah,
Get Down. Yeah, it's so good.
There's a Get Down. Yeah, this is another great point, and this is a point with action, and yeah.
Go. Down. Get down. Ready. Get down.
Yeah, that's an epic point.
Yeah, he points at J.E. Freeman. He points while he's teaching. Anyway, again, this is 100%. Well, we'll get to how much Harrison Ford he is in this percentage-wise, but it's leaning very, very high. So let's talk about some of the making of the film. Let's see. First of all, The Legal Quagmire. The novel came out in 1987. Viacom makes a play for the rights. It almost was an ABC TV adaptation. I don't know. It's TV adaptation.
The James Bond route, right? When James Bond's first movie was a little TV movie.
Meanwhile, Paramount was making The Hunt for Red October in '88 and claimed that the rights to Jack Ryan were part of their $455,000 deal they made for Red October. This stopped the ABC project. Clancy was fighting for the rights for his own character in the middle of all this, and eventually Paramount Pictures paid $2.5 million for the rights to Patriot Games and Clear and Present Danger. And they wanted Ford for both, and they ended up getting him. And I can't wait to see Clear and Present Danger again, because man, did I love that movie. Maybe even more than this one.
How dare you? That's the point there. That's such a great line.
Well, I think what I realized rewatching this, having rewatched Clear and Present Danger more recently, but still probably maybe 9 or 10 years ago, is that I have a feeling these are two very, very different movies. Like Patriot Games in my head was a lot closer to Clear and Present Danger, and now it's its own thing, but in a very high quality way. I mean, did Noyce direct Clear and Present Danger?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, and the other part of this that we're going to start seeing more of is Harrison Ford protecting his family, like he will in Firewall, like he will in all these other movies. But he starts doing it right around here, and we started having a family. And regarding Henry, now immediately 1 movie later, he has to protect them. But he'll continue to do that from here on out. And so, but you'll take that away for Clear and Present Danger, leaving just all espionage and political.
Right.
I think is really cool and a lot more complex.
But how cool a dodge is this movie in that you know it's this return to form. He's back in a franchise. He's back in a big summer franchise. He's you know it's got some action. You watch the trailer and stuff like that, and then you go into this movie, and after all of Harrison Ford Phase 3, this movie is all about a father and a husband with no controversy. There's no cheating, nothing like that. They're having a baby. They are a family. This is the first time and everything in this movie tries to disrupt that. And he's retired at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
He's out of the life until they mess with the wrong guys. My favorite type of movie, a guy who's out of the life, and then they mess with the wrong guy, and Harrison Ford gets to be that guy, and it winds him up and winds him up and winds him up until he's capable of punching a dude. But they take him to the biggest extent, and he's finally got to blow up, and we're all for it. Like, let's do it, and we know he's going to do it. Come on, blow up.
Yeah, even at the beginning, he's forced into heroics, which is my favorite kind of heroics. He's not stepping into the movie as the good guy; he's stepping up as his character.
But there's to follow up your point, to kind of underscore your point, Paul, real quick. Before he makes the jump into, fighting Sean Bean and his brother and all of that in that moment, and gets involved. As you said, didn't want to get involved, gets involved. He pauses. And that pause is exactly what you're talking about. Protecting his family. In that moment, when he pauses and looks at Ann Archer and looks at young Thora Birch, he hesitates because he loves his family. Should I jump in there? Should I not? And then duty overtakes him and he jumps in. And so the fact that he even takes a pause, which I think is a really smart move by Philip Noyce, that gives a subtle character or a subconscious character beat to this Jack Ryan, it makes you care about him even more because he hesitates. And if he hadn't gotten involved, all of this wouldn't have happened. Probably a man and his family would have died, but he wouldn't have gone through all the stuff he goes through. But it's that pause that lets you know that he's considered it, not getting involved, but he had to.
And much like Indiana Jones or Han Solo, can't help himself. There's a wrong being committed. I have to go into action.
Yep.
In
all
fact,
of us.
Yeah, right here and here. And I love the little Harrison Ford run here, but here he is. He has to spring in action. He can't. Bad is the only thing that allows evil to flourish is for a good man to do nothing, right?
Oh, get out! Open the fucking door! Open it! Open it or I'll blow it up!
Yeah. But much more human than some of the other characters because he gets shot again. He makes it out of that as you would expect in real life. Like, yeah, there's gonna be bullets flying. If you run into that, you are going to get shot. You're going to go to the hospital. You are not, you are not a mythic hero. Very interesting humanization of his character on every level. After Phase 3.
Yeah, I think bringing humanity to the role was a lot of what the positive reviews about this film said back in the day. Harrison Ford brought that element of things. So how did he get here? Okay. Producer Mace Neufeld pitched Harrison Ford because Baldwin was still young. They wanted a 50-year-old Ryan for this story, moving it forward. Baldwin was in negotiations to reprise his role, but committed to perform in A Streetcar Named Desire on Broadway. Filming for Patriot Games gets delayed by 2 months. Baldwin's out. Negotiations supposedly broke down anyway because of his insistence on script approval. In 2011, Baldwin claimed the role was recast due to being forced to choose between performing in Streetcar or agreeing to an open-ended clause relating to dates for the first sequel. Baldwin further claimed this occurred after a famous actor offered to play Ryan. So it's interesting, kind of Ford's coming in. They want Ford. Baldwin's still interested, but they're kind of moving him out, and it's kind of maybe a little convenient that he gets this stage show. But here's something I never heard. Ford was favored by both the studio and director John McTiernan due to a large debt the studio owed him from Harold Becker's unproduced historical film Night Ride Down. Have you ever heard of this? I have never heard of any of this. A film about the Pullman strike, which was canceled due to the early 1990s recession.
Yeah. Well, this is, as you guys said, this is a phase 3 movie if he had done this movie, right? Something so out of whatever he'd done before, trying something new, pushing himself as an actor. Remember, this is also around the time of Matawan and these films that come out about support, about supporting workers in these old times and strikes and these kinds of things. And so maybe he felt this was a great way for him to kind of spread his wings a little bit more as an actor. And of course, Witness has elements of that as well. So it would have made sense. It would have made sense for him to do it. But that, in the end, it didn't get done.
Yeah. You're right. That would have been a phase 3 choice. That phase 3 would not have started with the Pullman strike, type movie. Interesting.
Eventually, Ford signs a $9 million 3-picture contract to play Ryan after Baldwin's departure. So where's the third film? That's what I want. Let's get that third film under there. But
by the way, I have to say, you said Alec Baldwin demanded script approval. I have to say, after watching Harrison Ford's ability to get script approval start with Star Wars and watching all of his choices, one of those two actors is way better at script approval and director approval.
Also less mercurial, so I think that helps as well. Yeah.
So here's what could have been. An early concept was McTiernan making Clear and Present Danger with a script from John Milius.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Well, there's your right wing. It felt it wasn't right wing enough. Let's get Milius.
McTiernan apparently declined to make Patriot Games due to his Irish-American background.
Wow.
Other directors considered Walter Hill. That would have been different. Kevin Reynolds. That would have been without signature. And John...
That would have been without signature. I was like, what's the perfect way to bash on him a little bit?
2.5 hours at least. Yeah.
And then John Badham was considered, but asked for too much money. I guess, he wanted stakeout money or something. I don't know. But
Badham, it's amazing. What an auteur, but not also.
Yeah,
there's no signature either. There's another signatureless one.
And and almost Catherine Ryan, Mary McDonnell, which would have been fun because she was, every college has like one or two people that make it big, unless you're Yale or Harvard. From small SUNY Fredonia, south of Buffalo, New York. Mary McDonnell was our big alumni from Sneakers and Dances with Wolves, and but Battlestar Galactica, and then just kept working ever since. But it would have been fun to see her in this. But it went to Ann Archer, obviously. So.
Hey, don't we love that? It's Ann Archer. That's Fatal Attraction, right?
Yes.
I used to get her confused with Bonnie Bedelia all the time. They both kind of like their careers started at the same time for me. But yeah. But that's cool having like a, it's really nice seeing her. Actually, she's really good.
I was going to bring this up because there was a whole cottage industry in the 80s of playing the wives of these leading men, and it was like Patricia Clarkson, the woman from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles who plays Steve Martin. She's in The Boys. Ann Archer, Bonnie Bedelia, as you said, they're all just kind of around the leading men at this time, but showing up with different leading men in different projects. But there was a whole cottage industry of these 80s ladies who were, getting these jobs and working, and they were older playing these roles as well, which is fun to see.
But the wives in the other movies, recent movies he's done are fairly thankless. I feel
Yeah,
like
right.
because of the emphasis on family, motherhood, his retirement is clearly because of her. I mean,
Right.
they make a fine point on it eventually, but you start to get the hint of like, oh, he's retired because she doesn't want him doing this anymore.
Yeah.
And then she watches as here comes all the stuff again. Here's the CIA guys on my front doorstep. Think about it, Jack. And he does. He's like, no, no, no. This is a refusal of the call to adventure, the movie. He does it the entire time, and it's all for her and the family. And then to raise the stakes, she gets pregnant again. There is literally no way he can go on a one-on-one battle against the IRA with the CIA because now he's got another kid on the way. And that's when they tighten the noose again and try and kill her and his daughter. Oh my God. You want to piss off, you want to wind up Harrison Ford until he's pissed off enough to just go after these guys. They do it, man. Whew.
Yeah.
So here's where they filmed the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, which
shot.
You've been there. So it sounds like Rocha.
Yes, yeah, a couple of times.
What branch did you serve in? I don't even know.
I was in the Army for 8 years,
Okay.
but my brother got a recommendation from our senator at the time to get into the Naval Academy.
Wow.
Quick story. My father was a banquet waiter for many years in hotels. That's how he paid his bills. Immigrant to this country. Dad put roofs over our heads, clothes on our back, doing that job. I think it was Senator Mark Warner, I think it was, or John Warner at the time. I think it was John Warner, the older Warner. And my dad served him a number of times in functions. My dad pitched him my brother to get him into the academy because he had served in the Naval Academy. And you needed a recommendation from a senator or a representative to get into the academy, and he did it for him. My brother ended up not going because he just wasn't into the military at the same level. But my dad had gotten this for him, so we went to visit the academy to see what it was all about. So it was an intense visit for sure.
Yeah, I think also you have to have not even gotten a B- to get into the Naval Academy.
Yeah,
from a friend of mine who got in.
Yeah, my brother's like a genius. So
yeah. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But what a beautifully shot coming off the ocean over the Naval Academy, all this stuff. And you're like, there's so many things in this where you're like, I've seen that shot, or maybe not exactly the Naval Academy, but that idea of that shot done so much plainly. And I don't hold it against any movie until you see this movie do it and you see Philip Noyce do it. And you're like, oh, that's really cool. It's
Do you watch military movies, John, with a little? That's not how that would happen.
Oh yeah,
sometimes sure.
Yeah.
Like what was the most recent one? The Jake Gyllenhaal one. Yeah, the the Covenant. Yeah, I always go in going, man, this better not be one of these rah-rah lifetime military movies. I'm going to be so mad. I like military movies that are honest, and I'd like to think most of us who've served like these more honest military movies because they're all authentic. Not everything's no one's walking around kissing flags in the military. Okay, we have a job to do.
That is for a different demographic than people who have served, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It's more on CMT, but like more of the movies we do, like that I like are the ones that are honest about serving, and I appreciate that truth because of course we love our country, we defend our country. That's part of it. But also you deal with the foobarb and the red tape and the bullshit and the bureaucracy like you would any place else. So I like that they show elements of that. And that happened in the Covenant as well, which I thought was a really good way to balance things out. There's certainly a lot of people with good hearts in the military, but then sometimes you have to deal with the nonsense of it all. So yeah, I was going with like a little bit like, are you going to be honest or are you going to be like, flag humping? I don't want flag humping.
No flag humping.
Yeah.
So something like Hurt Locker wins Best Picture. Do you think they take into account the realism, or they just say this was entertaining and had all the drama and performances we need?
Yeah, I think it doesn't hold up when you look at it now, but at the time, I think because we were, still kind of fresh from 9/11, still the wars, so it kind of passed muster for that time. But I don't think now, when you look back on it, it's as timeless as some of the other military movies. But but it was a good one for that time for sure.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it since then. So give it another look.
Yeah.
So Patriot Games also ends up being the first film allowed to shoot at the George Bush Center for Intelligence, CIA headquarters.
Yeah. Right.
Now, this was interesting. From what is this? 31 years ago now. Whew. Hang on a second. Let's just take a moment. My God. That's right. I mean, my math is right? It's 31 years ago this movie came out. So, like, when I saw this movie, like, Lawrence of Arabia would have been the equivalent
in distance in the past.
Yeah, that would have been 30 years, but still.
Good
Ouch.
God.
All right, so but even that doesn't seem that long ago. But God, maybe my whole question's moot because now it feels like a long time ago. But I
Paul,
was
do you
gonna
want to
say-
Paul, do you want to clear the palate by watching him kill Sean Bean?
Yes, please. So
Add
maybe-
that to the list of things that Harrison Ford has done in his career. He's also killed Sean Bean. Not a lot of people can say well, actually, a lot of people can say they've killed Sean
yeah,
Bean.
yeah.
But he's
John Bean loves to die in movies, man.
So this technology from 30 years ago, where we wanted to show the attack on the desert camp for the terrorists, or for the soldiers, for whatever they were, they actually filmed it from above wearing black bodysuits, and the images were reversed in post-production. So they weren't even doing like a heat-seeking thing back then.
Right.
Could they not do it? Were they just... I'm curious to know why they chose the method. I mean, it looked great. It looked like the kind of thing in a movie. I buy that. You see the white things in a night vision thing. You're like, well, this is a sort of heat-seeking type camera.
well, I also got to say that I know it's commonplace now to see drone footage and things like that, but this has to be very radical in '92. We have to have never seen anything like this in a movie.
Especially for mainstream audiences. Like that
Yeah.
wasn't something you saw on the news every night.
No.
Drone footage, for God's sakes. No. Or satellite footage, which is what they use the imagery.
Or satellite footage, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen that.
I think the reason they have to do the special effect, Paul, and flip it is you're just not going to get a film quality image using actual night imaging type stuff. So it has to be some sort of trick, to get that look, I think.
Yeah.
At a high quality, for the cinema,
And one thing they shot that they didn't like was an underwater fight between Ryan and Miller at the end of the film.
Oh, wow.
That I remember the producer saying in the DVD extras, like, that just, it's real slow. And so it wasn't that exciting.
Always the problem with
I
underwater.
can't imagine what that would have looked like, but they bagged all that and reshot everything to end on the boat. There was even a fight where they end up on the rocks, then go in the water and then fight underwater. They cut all that, but then the reshoots were part of fixing that ending. Test audiences were somebody somewhere saw the underwater fight. That's got to be like right out of Top Secret, right?
Man, remember at the time, Paul, by the way, and John, that like Fatal Attraction and then this, like the idea of a test audience convincing the studio to change the ending, getting reported, was like highly controversial. Like, wait a second, the ending I saw wasn't genuine from the artist. Like that was like new news at the time.
Yeah.
So you would always hear like, I heard they changed the ending because of what the audience thought. But meanwhile, that happened all the time, but just in a few big cases it made news,
Yeah, I remember that.
So then the aftermath, the film's portrayal of Northern Ireland and the conflict there was controversial. Joseph McBride of Variety called the film fascistic, blatantly anti-Irish, a right-wing cartoon. Peter Bart got in the middle of all that between Variety and it didn't go well. So it was a big, ugly scene. Nevertheless, as I said, 178 million worldwide, 74% on Rotten Tomatoes. Audiences giving it an A- on Cinema Score for what those are worth. But still, pretty good response from audiences, despite whatever controversy decided to show itself.
Yeah, it's ironic that McBride. Well, I mean, is there a connection there? Maybe, but like apparently his reviews were so bad that Paramount did not take out ads in Variety or Hollywood Reporter later, but it was initially Variety because they didn't appreciate McBride's review. They said he went too far, and the producers felt like he was attacking them personally by saying that they kind of shit on the Troubles and didn't spend more time explaining the Northern Ireland cause. It just made it seem as if these people were just overall, just all these Northern Irish people are terrible. All these people in the IRA, they have no cause for what they're doing. they didn't really show the balance. I mean, Richard Harris, I don't think was enough to balance all the actions that were going on. So you can see why he felt that way, but it's odd that even back in 92, the studio's getting mad at a reviewer and limiting ads or whatever. And another controversy, which is really, I didn't know about till I was doing just some random research for the show today. Apparently the poster was an issue in areas in LA, in gang areas in LA, because of, and I hope I'm saying that right, gang areas, but whatever you want to say, it says 6/5/92 on the poster itself for when it was coming out.
Oh, right.
And 65 is when they had the riots there because of what happened in, I think, Watts and whatever. And then 92 was when they had the riots after the Rodney King. So they were saying, with Harrison Ford pointing a gun at pedestrians, they were kind of, in a way, some people took it. And this was written up in Entertainment Weekly. So this isn't just some Reddit blog. There was Entertainment Weekly wrote this up.
No, so we made that
Talked
connection
about the controversy. So yeah, it's weird how so we think things happen just recently, and it's like it's been going on for decades.
I know. Wow, that's interesting.
I'm going to go on the record and say it's a bit of a reach, but
well, sure.
But the reporting's solid, I'm sure.
Not for people intimately involved in 65 and 92, it wasn't, I guess. To me in Oxford, Ohio, yeah, sure. What's that even mean?
So as I mentioned, 83 million puts it as the 14th highest grosser domestically of 1992. Can anyone name one of the movies higher than that? Did
you say 14th?
Yes, in 1992.
Of the entire year.
Actually, I didn't write them all down. I just wrote down the ones I thought were interesting.
No, that's okay.
But so let me reverse that. I'll share them with you. Just more people saw Under Siege. That would never happen again.
Oh, wow.
Or people would see Seagal more than Ford.
Wow.
The Hand That Rocks the Cradle was higher up on the. That had a huge.
But those are two big trend movies, also, which is the Blank from Hell, and the what was the other one you just mentioned?
Under Siege, right?
Yeah, Under Siege, which is like that's what it was. Die Hard Inna. Yeah. Interesting.
And then Lethal Weapon 3, I guess, was one of the top 2 or 3 movies of the year. And I swear, I love Lethal Weapon. I love Lethal Weapon 2.
And I hate that 3.
I remember Lethal Weapon 4. I can't hate it. I don't remember any of it.
I don't
remember any of that movie.
Isn't Lethal Weapon 3 Chris Rock? Yeah.
No.
It's when he's dating.
4 is Chris Rock.
4 is Chris Rock? Oh, okay.
4 is Chris Rock, Jet Li. That movie is awesome.
Oh, right.
From the director of Superman, the movie.
Lethal Weapon 3 was the introduction of Rene Russo.
Right.
Oh,
but I just don't remember anything else that happened.
And it is about gang violence in LA. It's a smart idea. It's basically the Rocky V of Lethal Weapon movies, because I'm like, on paper, that is a great idea. That is the perfect direction to take it. And none of it works. It's just like, what's going on? It's strange.
Wow.
So
I totally forgot that one too.
Yeah.
But
if you watch it, nostalgia won't help it. I've tried.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I was like, because if you want to get a box set of Lethal Weapon movies on Blu-ray, they're going to give you 3. So I have it. It's like the Hunt for Red October that came in the Sum of All Fears that came in this set with these movies. I don't need them, but I got them. I wouldn't go in for those two. But
so the Harrison Ford list of essentials: Righteous Anger, yes, to Richard Harris for sure. He shows that. The points.
Wait, hold on. I think I need to examine this clip again just to see if there's any. Let's just examine this, guys. Let's get the telestrator up.
I don't give a shit whether you did it or not, and neither will anyone else. But I will put such a stranglehold on your gun money, you'll be out in the street throwing rocks. I will fucking destroy you. I will make it my mission in life.
Norse! Excuse me.
And from there, let it be known throughout the land, don't mess with Harrison Ford's family.
No.
When Han Solo dressing down Dumbledore in a crowded mall, as Mace Windu or Nick Fury gives him the shoulder
right?
as he walks by.
I mean,
So
I think you just defined how great this movie is in some ways, because we talk about this and that and all this sort of stuff, but like, that's the juice right there. What you just said.
Yeah. And I think Samuel L. Jackson, remember, he's a new character. We had not seen him in Hunt for Red October. So him coming in, he is seamless in the movie, man. And this is early in Samuel Jackson's career. Let's not forget, 89 is when he's first seen in as a small part in Coming to America.
Right.
And then step by step, through Spike Lee and others, he establishes himself. And then he is so seamless here, so professional, so calm in the interactions with Harrison, and equal in screen presence.
Oh, it's great.
Right? It's so great to see.
So fun to watch.
Yeah, and I have a feeling if James Earl Jones was younger, he would have done all the stuff that Sam Jackson did. But because he wasn't, they used Sam, and Sam did a great job playing this role all the way to the end. Yeah.
Oh, and let's talk about, let's not skip over James Earl Jones either, because I love how they use him in this.
Yeah.
Much like that clip I played earlier of like the way he and Jack talk.
Yeah.
And when Jack comes back to CIA, because he's had it now, like they tried to kill, his daughter and wife are tried to be Uzi'd on the freeway,
Crazy.
and he's like, comes back and he's like, I'm back in, or whatever. That conversation he has in how James Earl Jones defines that for the dickhead. He's gonna like a dickhead captain in this too, right? Yeah. What's up with that guy's ass, by the way? I've been wondering like he's just, he really is doing the Foley. Enough with you, Foley. Like he's not any different to me than that.
J.E. Freeman is so good in Miller's Crossing that when I see him in anything else, I just can't. I don't see the Dane. I love the Dane so much in Miller's Crossing. It's tough to see him in anything else not playing the Dane.
Well, he's really good in this. He might be one of the best performances as the dickhead captain. Who had enough of your nonsense. You radical. Dirty Harry. How dare you? He's getting that treatment, even though it's not that scenario.
Yeah,
he was the target of one of Harrison Ford's points, so that'll learn you.
That's true.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to take your job, Marty.
J.E. Freeman, let's not forget, also was the killer in Ruthless People, I believe. Right?
What?
Damn.
That's good trivia.
I can't remember what his character had a name.
That's a 5-pointer.
Bedroom killer. But yeah, you look like my mother. I hated my mother. Right, that whole bit. So then does he get hit? Yes, he gets hit. I appreciated in the DVD extras again when they talked about how they wanted these fight scenes to be by a guy who doesn't have the skills to fight well, and he nearly loses the fight with the guy who attacks him, who's like just walking on the street like a jogger.
Yeah.
Eventually that guy gets shot by nearby guards, but he swings and misses even once, which is interesting.
Well, that's what I like about it. You never see him land a punch, even at that point, until later in the movie. So when he tries to punch that kid, and I believe it was said in a commentary or the behind the scenes feature that we watched, Paul, which is that they kind of didn't want him to get even a punch off there. So and they said it was because of the reticence of Jack Ryan would have about beating up this kid who's clearly a part of it's not, this kid's so nervous, and he saw early on in that moment with the assassination, he's like, why is this kid so nervous and fidgety? And then he keeps watching him. So when it comes time to punch the kid, even though he's got a gun, he's like, I can't, this kid, anyway.
Well, but imagine it's also because he just shot and killed a 17-year-old kid himself. And so he might have a hesitancy, and we see later the PTSD when he's in the woman's bathroom on accident, whatever, like he is like in a PTSD thing. That's their way of alluding to it without spotlighting it. So I imagine with the young kid there, he has shades of what happened and doesn't want to necessarily, is hesitant at least to go at it with this young kid.
That's true. Really, Jack Ryan really is haunted by having killed a kid at the beginning of this movie, trying to protect his family. But that didn't make it any better. He's not a guy that's like, haha, that's what you get. He's just like, holy crap. And watches Sean Bean watch his brother die. Yeah. And he's seeing all this happen as he's fading away. It's like, wow, you're right. The PTSD for that. I never even thought of that. Yeah.
And then Sean confronts him in the court as he's walking out. Remember, he says, I hope you're happy what you did. You killed my brother, blah, blah, blah. So like he's carrying all that guilt with him in that moment too.
Yeah. And Ryan is guilty in that moment too. I mean, he's got the Harrison Ford glare is back, by the way. We said the Harrison Ford glare is back. The Harrison Ford hair is back. And the Harrison Ford finally has a cool name again after a couple movies off,
After a Rusty and a Hank. He's a Jack again. So yeah,
he's a Jack again. But that glare. Oh.
So how Harrison Ford is he in this? In a percentage, 1 to 100. If you tuned in to watch Harrison Ford and Patriot Games, you'd say, "Wow, that was what?"
What's your? I would have to participate in this. I'd have to know what your scale is. What's your lowest Harrison Ford and what's your highest Harrison Ford?
The least Harrison Ford
Yeah,
he's
least
been.
Harrison
Paul, what
Ford.
did we give that to?
Apocalypse
least-
Now, maybe? I don't know. He doesn't get to do a lot of Harrison
Yeah, I
Ford
guess.
stuff.
He's not very Harrison Ford in The Conversation. I don't think we rated that
that's
high.
right. I forgot he's-
Oh, the least he's ever been Harrison Ford. The least Harrison Ford he's ever been has got to be Journey to Shiloh, right? He's just like,
See, John, there are like 7
Y'all-
movies before American Graffiti, which nobody knows about, but we saw them.
sorry. Let's talk about one that maybe John's seen.
What's the one where he's the flyer? World War One. What's the? I forget what that one was.
Right,
Hanover
Hanover
Street.
Yeah.
Hanover Street,
that's
but he's
right,
here.
Hanover Street.
He's
Yeah.
heroic in that. He kisses a girl. It's his first
So
shirtless scene.
I'd
it's a
say
lot, you know,
Hanover Street. He's probably a 4, right?
Is Empire Strikes Back like the top, or
yeah,
is
that
Indiana
Raiders are like
Jones?
100.
Yeah, that's 10s.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay,
100.
so
Do we go to 100? What do we do?
We go to 100. It's a percentage.
100. Sorry, yeah.
he's about 85 to 90% Harrison Ford in this movie, and I say this because you have to factor in Harrison Ford at this time, right?
That's
And-
exactly it.
right. No one gets his ass kicked better than Harrison. No one. I mean, no one. Through
That's a good
all
point.
the movies, he is always either a step behind or gets his ass kicked, and it's incredible, but he always finds his way out. Same thing in this movie. He's
Yeah.
heroic where he needs to be. He's a step behind at times, but he uses his intelligence. Just like when he gets out of these situations, he uses his mind. The big dude and Raiders of the Lost Ark, he figured out, hey, the propeller's coming. I'm just going to lie here. I'm going to let him die.
And before that, kick him in the balls, throw dirt in his face. I ain't trying to punch this guy. I ain't gonna
He
I'm
figures it
smarter.
out. And so in that moment, when he puts it all together after the situation in the
Hmm.
woman's bathroom, and he comes back and he's got everything, he collates that. That's as Harrison Ford as you get. Then he has the
Right.
action sequences. Also, Harrison Ford would absolutely be smart enough to leave the British guy behind, the government politician there, and his wife and kid, to trick the aggressive, emotional IRA guys to come after him, or IRA sect guys, splinter cell guys to come after him. So a lot of those things are Harrison Ford. And at the end, they have the sweet moment with finding out that his wife's okay. And of course, his reaction to finding out about his daughter's spleen is pure emotion of a father crying, you know. And so when he confronts Richard Harris, he's almost half crying as he's talking to Richard Harris, controlling all the emotions that are involved here. And then, of course, delivers what he needs to deliver there. So I'd say it's pretty high up Harrison Ford here for this section of his career.
John Rocha, that is a hell of an analysis.
Well,
You,
thanks,
you are filling in like thoughts as I'm having them. You're saying them. I'm like, you are so right. For Phase 4 Harrison Ford, how Harrison Ford is he? That scale has changed. He is very Harrison Ford in this. But if I had seen this movie as his 10th movie, I'd be like, he doesn't really do a whole lot of Harrison Ford stuff in it. But now those emotional moments, being a family man, just the camera holding on him silently. Oh, here, watch this. Just a shot like this is very Harrison Ford. He's come a long way. That is still a very Harrison Ford shot.
Well, I've always mentioned his underplaying as one of his, strong cards that he pulls out for
Very
every
much
movie
so.
where he does, and he's about to go into The Fugitive and probably do his most underplaying yet, where he's puts in a fantastic performance with hardly any dialogue, really, in the end.
He uses
Comparatively.
silence so well.
Yeah.
I mean, watching, I'll play it here too. We didn't play it earlier, but the satellite mission kill, just the moment where one of the dude bros in the room's like, that's a kill, but Harrison Ford plays that entire scene silent. In fact, Harrison Ford doesn't speak after he gives his assessment, because he silently nods to James Earl Jones. And then he doesn't speak again for 10 minutes as this entire thing happens. Great silent acting. He's totally coming to his own on silent acting. Wow.
That is a kill.
he's now in the Yavin base. That's where he is a character, you know? He's now on Yavin 4.
Yeah, it's such a great moment because you're right.
So
Why would Noyce include that if he's not making a commentary about the callousness that some people in government have in killing people? Because they have the power to do it, whereas Jack doesn't. Jack's not callous about the deaths. His reaction to that guy, he stares at him. He doesn't just kind of give him and smirk or toss it off. He stares at him for a while because he's probably questioning, is this the right thing? Have I done the right thing? Are these the right people? Can I carry this guilt with me of more deaths at my hand, like the beginning of the movie? So there's all of that. And also I'll throw one more thing in. The great gifts of our favorite everyman actors, and I mean Tom Hanks and Harrison Ford, Jimmy Stewart, the great everyman actors, as you pointed out, Paul, the underplaying and the silence, as you said, Adam, that's their gifts because we connect to that. That's where we find their humanity. And we know because we ourselves have been silent in certain moments, have been quiet, and even me have been quiet in certain moments.
Even I shut up sometimes.
Yeah, in certain emotional moments. And so we connect to that because we know that we've been there. And so I think those are the gifts of everyman actors.
And the power, well, and he's an everyman actor who is different from others because he is so known for raucousness, bombastic movies, right? So every silence with him speaks like an explosion, I think, so much more than other actors.
That's great.
Case in point. How he shuts up Richard Harris without saying a word in this scene.
Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan, I'd like to share with you our deep regret about...
Now that is the new Harrison Ford. That is Phase 4 Harrison Ford. Did he turn around and shout? No, he's going to say some stuff to him later, but still, because he's winding up. They're going to get to him to the point where he's just like, you don't make me take action, man. Don't piss me off. He says in that scene with Sam Jackson earlier, he's like, what made you go after the bombers? And he's like, they pissed me off. Really, it's like, I couldn't help it. And when we just watched that scene, I saw that moment where he looks down at his daughter and he's just like, looks up at him and he's like, no, I'm going to get these sons of bitches,
And that scene is also credit the scene before that where they're watching the bombings at the base. That also is credit to the director because I love physical media because we were watching all the DVD extras. You don't see those as much as anymore, but it was good to watch that one. They were talking about how there's a whole scene where James Earl Jones explains how it all works and how what it all means. And they just said no. Ford's reactions said it all. Between Noyce and Ford, they kind of worked together to like trim that down to just it's over, and then we go.
We've heard him doing that a lot in things. Even recently in Dial of Destiny, he's like, there was a bunch of jokes about me being an old man, and he's like, I made him cut it out. I'm like, more silence. He's always advocating for that.
Yeah. Apparently the jokes will be he'll either act like an old man or there won't be the joke. So, all right. Well, then that wraps up Patriot Games. What did we cover? I think that's everything. Oh, the punch count. He does end up throwing 3 punches and landing 3 punches. He misses a couple times. Yeah. In this, so that makes the total count for
grand total.
How about this? This is his 27th movie of Harrison Ford's career, John. How many times do you think he's thrown and landed a punch in those 27 movies?
21.
90. There's 39 alone in Temple of Doom.
Yeah, 39 in Temple of Doom.
I thought you meant how many movies did he land a punch in?
All right. Well,
not how many punches had he thrown. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I would have gone closer to 50 for sure, but all right, fair enough.
Yeah. 11 movies he punched a guy. And Adam always likes to point out, the first person he punched in a movie?
Very first person he ever punched on screen. This was one of the best first things we ever learned after watching. It was his third movie.
I don't know. Who was the first person?
Second movie.
It was his second appearance.
Was it a Nazi?
He got backed into in his car driven by Elaine May. And so he gets out of the car, goes up, reaches past Elaine May and punches the guy in the passenger seat, who is Jack Lemmon. Hits him right.
The very first person he punches is Jack Lemmon.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm pulling up that clip. We got to show him that clip. Hold on, I've got my library started getting down, or I can pull these things up pretty quickly.
What film is that?
Gary 12 and Green,
called Love. It's based on a play I actually did in for a theater company in Rhode Island many years ago. It's a very, very funny play by Murray Shiskel. The movie was meh, but it's about a guy who's going to kill himself, and he runs into an old friend, and the old friend, keeps him from killing himself, and then they get involved in it, like
Very wacky.
Yeah, like a love triangle, and it's very it's super farce.
I mean, to its credit, it's got Jack Lemmon, Elaine May, and
Peter Falk.
Peter
So
Falk
should have been better. Yeah,
I mean,
but,
so it's at least watchable because you got those three people to look at.
But he has a lot of stage, a lot of stuff that worked better on stage. Text.
I bet. And you could tell when a play has been adapted to a movie. You're like, am I watching a play while you're watching the movie? But
while they let him bring up that clip, John, tell us where people can find the Outlaw Nation.
Oh yeah, please head on over to youtube.com/John Rocha Says. That's where you'll see all the Outlaw Nation content that we do there. Geek Buddies, the hot mic that is becoming a big hit for us.
Now, what are the concepts of each of these shows? Geek Buddies is
it's just that we're talking the big geek news of the week. We do three news items and then one big main topic. That's basically that show. And then the hot mic is just Jeff and I with the filters off, because we are both very opinionated guys and we have suspicious points of views about people in Hollywood. So we give our truths, but Jeff always brings scoops and rumors through his sources and his contacts. And we've broken some stuff over the last few months that ahead of other people. And like Dave Filoni having a Star Wars movie, we broke that 2 weeks before Star Wars Celebration.
That's awesome. Nice.
Yeah, so it's little things like that. So noise, exactly. And then of course the Jedi Way, which I do with Laura Kelly, and very soon, and we've been having Kevin Smets on recently as a great guest, so it's been fun to have that.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Yeah. And then my solo stuff on there as well. But yeah, that's where I do, and then my podcast, the Cinephiles, and the Geek Buddies and Hot Mic, which are separate podcasts as well.
So how many total shows do you put out a week?
Well, I try to put 2 videos out a day, but on the channel. Yeah. But the podcasts, at least 3 or 4 episodes a week of the different podcasts. So one episode each. So yeah.
It's great.
Got to work, man. I like to work.
Yeah.
Do you,
so everybody hit the alarm bell on that too, because I realized I don't know if I'm getting as many updates about your shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I always, my alarm bell somehow goes off on certain people, and I check, and I'm like, what?
What is this?
Do you have a show where you fawn over an actor like we do? I mean,
no, that's why I love
single actor.
We might be rare. Yeah.
No, I like it. Please, if I did it, it would be Cruise. And I don't know if I can,
the cruise convention.
Yeah, it would be
the
something
cruise
like
convention.
That. Yeah, the cruise. I had to do imitations of him all the time. But no, I love that you guys did it, because Ford is such a great actor. He's such a complex, interesting actor, and still somewhat strangely undervalued. So I love that you guys are doing
right.
Yeah.
They're still underestimating him.
Yeah, always, still.
Yeah, and now he might get his first Emmy nomination.
We're
shrinking. He's a strong contender. So
I love that he's made this turn into TV and streaming stuff. I love it.
Right.
All right, John, thank you so much. And we're, of course, at the Movie Guys everywhere on social, and themovieguys.net, where you can find all of our stuff. We'll be back next week whenever we get it edited, with The Fugitive.
Thank you for couching that. Oh my God, The Fugitive is next, Paul? Oh my God. This is like a big deal, I think. Like that we're actually going to The Fugitive next. Holy crap.
Yeah. We'll actually put a polished ending on that when we record the other part of the thing, but that's fine.
Sure. But for now, since we're done recording that part of the show, I'm just going to show Rocha the scene from Love to get his reaction. Here is Harrison Ford punching Jack Lemmon.
You know what? My parents don't. Hi.
Oh, what a tasteless thing to do. Harry? Harry, are you all right?
Is that Santa Monica Pier? Where was that? That looks like
no, that was Coney Island, I think.
Oh, Coney
New York.
Island.
Yeah.
Elaine May, rarely on screen. So
right.
It's an interesting moment.
She's in the whole movie and she kills it. And it's, it's it's great that Harrison Ford is in that of all things.
Yeah,
You know, he could be in just a bunch of crap. I mean, even Journey to Shiloh, for all its flaws, you're like, James Caan's awesome in that lead, and he's in a movie where James Caan is an awesome guy who kicks a bunch of ass, even though Harrison Ford doesn't, you know.
I love it.
Yeah, he dies off screen in that one, right? That's not how you kill Harrison.
Yeah, that's the bullshit about that one.
All
He
right,
only has one word in Time for Killing, and it's fire. Which is like, all right, you're going to give a guy one word and he gets to shout it. Like, all right, awesome.
All right, so we're gonna go with our. We usually just blab on here for the more time. If you got to go, I understand, but we're gonna pick on.
Let us know
things.
your schedule. We're just gonna shoot the shit a little bit here.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about other Harrison Ford stuff. But if you want to explain this photo, feel free a little more in depth.
Yeah. So yeah, before I go, let me talk about that. So, as I said, my friend there, that's on the right there, with looking like something out of Newsies. My friend, there, his little cat. He is a fantastic writer, and I think he's in Nebraska now. But Clay and I are fantastic friends. We met managing bookstores together, and we've been friends for 3 decades now. And I told him I was doing this movie with you guys, and I said, I think you remember telling me some drunken night that Harrison Ford shot this outside your place? He's like, oh yeah, no, totally. And he sent me this picture. This is him and the rest of his friends and family there at his apartment building. This is in Annapolis. They shot. So where the young dude is getting the newspaper and the fence there, that's all his apartment building. And Clay had a cameo in the movie. They cut it out, but he was going to be Harrison was going to come around the fence and peek and see the kid. And the kid was going to be Clay there messing around and doing stuff. And then he was going to focus on the kid with the young man with the sweatshirt on. So,
right.
Yeah. So they shot for 3 days outside his house, and he came. He told me, and we said it was a blast. And Harrison was really great and very funny. Talked to him in between takes, and he said that one of the women who you see in the picture there, who had a massive crush on Harrison Ford, walk up to him when he had a little bit of blood on his nose, and she said, "Is that real or is that fake?" And he said, "There's nothing fake about me, sweetheart." And she fell down on the ground out of just utter love for Harrison Ford, which I thought was great. But yeah, he said he was a fucking blast. The guy was a blast. So
wow.
Yeah.
I want to do a thing to collect stories of people who have met Harrison Ford. I just want I want to do an entire show of just Harrison Ford stories. So at some point we'll see if we can get him to record that story.
Clay would love to do that. He loves telling that story. So yeah, definitely.
Ted Raimi shows up in Patriot Games, which is a friend of a friend of a friend of ours. Or a friend of a friend of Paul's. Yeah. But so maybe get his story from as well.
Cool.
Yeah, we practically have a collection of stories of Tom Cruise that if you ever do your podcast, we'll send them your way. Like Lisa Ann Walter told a story about
did he save someone from
War of the
falling
Worlds?
off a boat or something?
Yeah, the ferry sequence in War of the Worlds.
Like a hero, and
he's the last one left on my bucket list. He's the last one left. I've never met him, never in person. And when they had the Top Gun Maverick premiere here in San Diego on the ship, I shook every tree that I know and still could not get on that ship to work the red carpet for my channel, which I've never done. I don't work red carpets for the channel, but I was gonna break that for Tom Cruise, but I couldn't, get through to get on the ship. So somehow, some way, I've got to meet Tom Cruise before it's all over. So
I got to meet Harrison Ford. When I looking at that photo right there, I was like, could you imagine meeting Harrison Ford? I can't even conceive of it.
Like, I don't know what I would do. You and he would probably just, light up and be fine. I don't smoke, so
well, that's the other story I want to get. Somebody from the comedy scene, Paul and I were in the comedy scene in Chicago right after they shot The Fugitive there, and friends of ours smoked a joint with Harrison Ford, and I do not remember who that is, but I'm going to start asking around because somebody told me that story. I got to get that guy's story. Come on.
Right on. All right, well, let me get out of here. Do I send you guys the file? How do you want me to do that?
Yeah, stop recording that, save it, and then just shoot it to whatever. I'll send you my email.
Okay. Yeah, send me an email and I'll do it through WeTransfer and I'll send it to you.
Put this all together and the final polished show will come out eventually. But we appreciate you coming on.
No, it was a blast. Thank you guys. Good to see you guys again. Take care.
Thanks, John. Good to see
John Rocha. Yeah, let's roll through these.
Yeah, we got a bunch of comments here. Thanks everyone for comments. Hey, Andres.
And Brennan.
Andres, you got to come on the show. I'm going to do a segment called Add to Cart because all of these Indiana Jones actors are out there. Andres is responsible for getting me back into action figures by telling me to buy the Moon Knight action figure from Disney or from Marvel from the show, and then that arrived like 3 months later by surprise, and I was like, oh, it's Christmas, I have a Moon Knight, so I have to buy mini Indiana Jones figures. You have to come on for that.
Love this movie.
Yeah, that'd be my
first score. Oh, we didn't talk about James Horner and how you nailed the fact that you knew who it was just from listening to to it for like during the opening credits. I think you already knew who it was.
I also edited an in memoriam for James Horner for a certain organization or whatever. I want to play that on the show. This would be a good context to do that, to share that sometime, because it's a whole bunch of his movies that he did. Yeah. Although I was asking for the memorial, I wanted Patriot Games, and they said no. And I also suggested Krull. No.
Dennis Rocha threatening to drag his balls across it. Yeah, I guess
he was in gentlemanly mode today.
Yes, he was.
He was all about Harrison Ford today.
These were characters that we played in I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Such a big character. Oh, yeah. My character is nothing like Adam Witt.
There you go. Hit up your buddy John Williams to introduce you to Harrison. There you go.
I know, right? I know. Yeah, exactly. Could happen. At least I'd have something to talk about.
Here's some other stuff. For those of you who followed the Movie Guys for many, many years, I reunited with Bart Caius over the weekend.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Our old, when I was down in Florida.
Oh,
you didn't
that's
have to drive
awesome.
too far to come say hello, so
we
went to City Walk. He's
City Walk
retired.
South.
He retired at like 45, right? And
I know.
Went down to Florida where he just works remotely for an ad agency and golfs.
Yeah. No, he created a world in his head. This is what I want, and it just came true.
Yeah.
Everybody dream big dreams. You too can be retired at 40, even though you're working, but still just living your life like a retiree, because that's all Bart ever wanted, was to be a retiree. And you know what? You can live the life of a retiree at our age, it turns out,
Yeah. Yeah. Or at
that's awesome. It's great that you guys went to Disney or just a City Walk there. Yeah.
Just City Walk. Yeah. We were hanging out.
That's cool. That's great.
And now
jealous.
people also sent me stuff occasionally, just because they know we're into Harrison Ford. So like someone sent me this. I think it was Brad, my buddy Brad, from the opening of Raiders.
Oh wow.
There's
the second
Freeman.
from the left is Tote, or second from the right is Tote.
Correct. Far right. That's Pat
Ronald
Roach.
Lacey.
Pat
Pat
Roach
Roach,
when he's
yeah.
not bald. Yeah.
Well, he looks like the thuggy also that Harrison. Which one of these 5 people is a movie star? I think I'm going to go the second one from the left.
Sent that as well, just from the set of Raiders.
Man, shooting Raiders. Can you imagine, Paul? It's like, yeah, so you look back on photos and you're like, oh, there's a thing I did. That time I directed Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh, my God. Can you imagine? Jesus. Wow.
Someone made a throwback
That's just heady stuff right there.
Blade Runner poster, which I thought was pretty cool.
Oh, that's perfect. Wow.
Sort of Casablanca vibe.
I like that. That's cool. Yeah, being Harrison Ford fans, we get sent a lot of stuff. I actually have a lot of stuff I bring up for a grab bag show that is just like sitting in my phone, like that Crazy magazine, Mad, Cracked, and the occasional issue of Crazy.
Right.
But I've got the Blade Runner issues. The only issue of Crazy I ever had was the Blade Runner issue. So,
yeah, you still had to convince me that was an actual magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard of it. So.
Yeah, that was Marvel's version of Mad and Cracked. And since I was obsessed with Mad and Cracked and Harrison Ford,
and Marvel,
yeah, it was Marvel's version of Mad, and it was called Crazy. And their mascot it was Alfred E. Newman for Mad. It was Sylvester P. Smythe for Cracked, and it was Obnoxio the Clown for Crazy, which is superior to all of them. I feel, not in status, but like that's great. Obnoxio the Clown.
Crazy seems.
What is Kevin Feige doing with Obnoxio the Clown? That I have to find out.
Yeah, but I mean, if he doesn't show up in Guardians 3, I'd be shocked. Crazy seems like the kind of thing that would put out Spielberg, Harrison Ford, and Sean Connery doing like Three Stooges stuff on the set, right? like this.
Crazy Magazine? What, doing Three Stooges?
Larry Moore He does that.
He does that like that.
Yeah, I mean, that is the pop culture references from their youth. Remember watching cartoons as a kid and they're all making references to stuff they watched as a kid and it was like Bogart?
Yeah, right. Adam, have you ever seen Marlon Brando screw up his lines in Superman?
No, I don't think I got a Superman story for you, but yeah.
The virtuous spirit has no need for thanks or approval. Only the certain conviction that what has been done is right. Develop such conviction in yourself, Elal, Kal-El, Ralph, whatever your name is.
Just cut. We'll just pick it up.
Listen how patient Donner is. Cut. We'll just pick it up. Like, I want out of this. Oh my
Halal?
gosh.
Halal is a type of meat, right? I think. Okay.
Halal. You know, it's funny watching that. You're like, this is like a year after he shot Apocalypse Now. Like he could just start rambling about flies and things on the edge of a thing and writing things on a bomb, and it would sound like. Actually, it would be really funny to do a mashup. Remind me, I come up with more ideas during the show than I execute. But Kal-El watching Jor-El, but as you cut away to it, you just start hearing like the ramblings of
The horror.
it's a good mashup.
Okay. Meanwhile, the Krypton's blowing up. Let's go. What else you got, Dad? And then the time of fright upon us.
So for anybody who doesn't know, I just saw Superman the movie in theaters. Well, by the way, more recently, I just saw Return of the Jedi in theaters.
Paul. Oh, so did I.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that magical or what?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just so like, and after Superman, to go back to that story, I saw Superman the movie 2 weeks ago, and that is like one of the most meaningful movies to me of all time. But when I was in the theater with all the sound and all that, and I'd been through the entire journey of it and the helicopter and you got me, who's got you? Statistically speaking, it's still the safest way to travel. Comes my favorite line in the movie or any movie. It's my favorite line in movies, which is, she says, "Who are you? Who are you?" Still shell shocked from having been picked up by a flying man and dropped off on the top of a roof. She's like, and he says, "A friend." And I gotta tell you, man, I was so swept up in that when I realized that line's coming up and I'm already starting to well up and I'm like, I'm gonna lose it. But it was all out of joy. And I had the biggest cry I might have had since, I don't know, I was a kid and a relative died or something. But I'm like, I am crying a lot, but it's all out of joy because I'm just like, and then that goes into John Williams music, which, you know, and I realized too, in my analysis of watching that Superman is like, in the intervening time since I've seen Superman in the theater, I have worked for John Williams and did a montage for his birthday presentation in Washington, D.C. that is to the Superman theme. So conservatively, you know, editing things, Paul, if you're editing a music video, how many times you listen to that song? So I'm like, in the last year, I have heard the Superman theme easily 150 times working on that project. And so when it hits there after my favorite line, I was like, oh, here we go. And I was just like, I'm so happy. Because then he goes off and fighting crime and saving cats and all that shit. That Christopher Reeve, I'll tell you what. Something special with that actor, man. Woo. But anyway.
Yeah, that was some casting.
Yeah. Oh, God. Was it, or did he? I don't know. Did that come out of? I just some sort of miracle craziness here. I'm going to upload a photo of Obnoxio the clown, so you can move on to the next point. Where is it here? I got to show it to you. Oh, I should show the.
Look at this in the meantime, because
yeah, go for it.
There it goes. Thunderbolt Ross and
yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, you web BP. Hold on, let me convert it to JPEG.
How do you do that? I just recapture it with a grab.
Oh, yeah, but see, that's like 2 extra steps. See, it's already downloaded, so, well, you're right. It's probably the same amount of... Can't I just... Oh, hold on a second. Let me just change it. Let's see if I just change it to JPEG, Paul. This could be the shortest... I just changed it to JPEG. Does it work now?
You're just changing the letters.
Yep. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm going to see because this could be the solution. Now, it had the word JPEG already in its title, so maybe it was a JPEG. It was. But anyway, this is Crazy Magazine, and that is Obnoxio the Clown. That's the Obnoxio the Clown phone. On the upper right is the real Obnoxio the Clown.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was see Marvel's logo up there. That was wow. They did 100 of these. 90 episode issue 94. Anyway, that's Obnoxio the Clown.
Who knew?
Yeah. Who knew? I did because I was a nerdy kid who loved those magazines.
Nice.
Did you hear that Spielberg regrets taking the walkie-talkies?
Well, that was obvious when he reinstated them 2 years later.
Yeah, for E.T. Movies should remain of their time, so he regrets taking the guns out and replacing them with walkie-talkies. I made this because I thought that would be like...
Did you make that a long time ago when they did it originally, or
no? I made it like it like months ago, but I just been sitting here waiting for a reason to bring it up, and now it's news. So I was like, oh yeah, what?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, wait long enough. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh, what a funny way to apply that.
Nice.
Nice. So,
I think the picture says a lot too. Because
I like the picture
he's
too.
So
yeah,
close and so somber.
Nice.
You're right. In all his European director look.
Nice.
Before we go, did you see this, Adam?
In a galaxy far, far away, prepare for a reboot like never before. This summer, Wes Anderson brings you a side of the Star Wars universe you've never seen before, the Galactic Menagerie. Join this ragtag crew of unlikely heroes as they navigate the absurdity of the cosmos, challenge the Empire, and redefine what it means to be a rebel.
Our mission is simple. We steal the Emperor's artifact, save the galaxy, and maybe find ourselves along the way.
For this mission, we'll need lightsaber, blaster, thermal detonator, paper airplanes, spare parts, and R2-D2.
With a star-studded ensemble featuring the galaxy's most eccentric cast, the Galactic Menagerie is the most delightfully offbeat Star Wars adventure yet. Starring Timothée Chalamet, Scarlett Johansson, Edward Norton, Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, William Dafoe, Adrian Brody, and Owen Wilson.
Wow.
Coming to theaters this summer, may the Force be with you.
I love how everybody's parody of Wes Anderson is just a parody of Wes Anderson's Moonrise Kingdom. Every parody does not touch the Grand Budapest Hotel that much. There's no French Dispatch in that. There's definitely no Rushmore in that. I mean, there's a book in it, but does that mean they're covering Royal Tenenbaums? I don't think so. You know,
and that's all AI.
very clever.
Of course,
Yeah.
I looked at it and I go,
Oh, it's AI.
That's all AI. Yeah.
Oh, because wow. Interesting. I got to get into this AI stuff. Of course, Paul, you know, my first 10 applications of it are Harrison Ford. I've got all my ideas of stuff I want to do. I'm going to put Harrison Ford in Zabriskie Point. I just got to figure out how to do it. And of course, have him rap the song Sabotage.
I can't stand it. I know you planned it. I'm going to set it straight. This Watergate, I can't stand rocking when I'm in here, because your crystal ball ain't so crystal clear. So while you sit back and wonder why I got this fucking thorn in my side, oh my God. It's a mirage, I'm telling y'all. It's sabotage.
What an incredible waste of time.
That is correct. That is also correct.
All right, well, that's enough show for today.
Have we done enough show, Paul?
We accomplished
I think we
something.
have.
No, we did the second half of Patriot Games. Now we just have to go all the way back to Temple of Doom and start editing these damn things.
It's done. I just got to do a final. The levels were all off, but and then something else happened. So whatever. We'll probably get that done tonight, Paul.
Oh,
and then it's on you.
Well,
back to you.
A witness is half done. I'm on a plane again this week, so that means I can work on the script for, Patriot Games. The second half of it probably help you out.
We got comments to cover here. This is a great call. Underwater fight. Because we're saying
I said that, yeah, but okay.
Oh, did you say that? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Unremarkable.
Just wanted to see anything else was covered here while we were talking.
We need Harrison on the show. Yeah.
It's good. It's gonna happen. Let's see who else. We got Brennan and Andres calling on the champ. Hello, hi Brendan. Sorry we didn't catch it earlier.
I did. I went through most of these.
Oh, did you? Okay. All right. Then I guess we're done with the show. How shall we end the show, Paul?
Well, with our did you get rid of the opening thing?
No, I just moved it down. Oh, yeah, I just moved it down.
All right, we'll go out with a commercial then.
All right.
Ali, 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 no me, hui! Ali, no me, hui! Ali, no me, hui! 주화장?
예전 아내님이 왜? 타케다.
1, 2, 3.
Do you want to know?
I don't know. Do you?
Well, I thought I wanted to know, but now I'm not so sure.
Hold on a second. We're discussing it.
Me neither. I mean, I do and I don't.
He's waiting.
Okay. Tell us.
Okay, tell us. Thank you.